Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm DCSG81, and if this is your first time watching my video, welcome to my channel. This is where you'll find me doing reviews for action figures, custom heads and accessories, as well as some comparison and all sort of fun stuff. So I hope you will subscribe to my channel and click on the bell button so that you don't miss out any of my latest toy news. Okay, so I have been receiving quite a number of questions from you guys who asked me about the release date for certain figures, especially from Mafex. So figures such as the Carnage, the Hush Superman, the Spider-Man and things like that. So I was thinking why not I make a video about all the current pre-orders from Mafex and their release date, so which is why I made this video. But at the same time, I'm not going to cover all the figures for pre-orders from Mafex. I'm just going to cover figures from the Marvel, the DC, as well as from the X-Men. So I won't be covering the release date for certain figures such as the Michael Jordans and even the Chucky. But don't you worry, there are still a lot of figures to be covered. Yep, so let's get started. So the very first one that we'll begin with is also the ones that I think a lot of you guys has been waiting for, which is the Peter B. Parker from the Spider-Verse animated movie. Okay, so this one was scheduled to be released in December this year. And the next one, of course, as you have guessed it, is the Miles Morales from the same Spider-Verse movie, and this one is scheduled to be released hopefully this month, October. Still on Spider-Man, of course, is the one from the Far From Home, the upgraded suit Spider-Man. This is scheduled to be released on December this year. Moving on to Aquaman, we have two figures, which is Mera. Okay, this is scheduled to be released in December as well. And also the Black Manta, which is also scheduled to be released in December as well. Moving on to some comics, we have the Carnage, which is also scheduled to be released in December this year. Next, of course, is the one that I've been anticipating for, the Hush Superman, which is scheduled to be released in December as well. And the next one, of course, is the Dark Knight Returns, the Blue Batman, which is also the better damaged versions that you can see. And this one is scheduled to be released in December as well. Okay, so moving on to some Avengers, we have the Iron Spider, which is scheduled to be released next month, November. And this is another anticipated figures, which is the Infinity War Captain America, which is also on December this year. And next we have the Catwoman from the Hush, which is scheduled to be released next year, March. And back to the Spider-Man Far From Home, we have the Stealth Suit, which is scheduled to be released next year, January. And next we have the Joker from the Dark Knight Returns, which is scheduled to be released on December this year. And this is the one that you guys been waiting for, the Black Hush Batman, which is scheduled to be released on January next year. And moving on to some X-Men, we have the Magneto, which is scheduled to be released on next year, February. And still on the X-Men, we have the Gambit, which is scheduled to be released on next year, March. Back to the Avengers, we have the Captain America from the Avengers Endgame, which is scheduled to be released on next year, March. And then we have Hush himself from the Hush Batman, which is scheduled to be released on next year, April. And back to the Spider-Verse, we have the Spider-Gwen Stacy with Ham, which is scheduled to be released on next year, April. Back to X-Men, we have the Brown Wolverine, okay, which is the classic one, which is scheduled to be released on next year, May. And then we have a new Batman called the New Batman Avengers, which is something like the cartoon versions. This Batman will be released on next year, May. And back to the Avengers Endgame, we have Iron Man Mark 85, which is scheduled to be released next year, June. And then we have the Batman and Robin from the Dark Knight Returns, which will be scheduled to be released on next year, June. And the last two, we have the Hush Joker, which is scheduled to be released on next year, August. As well as from the X-Men, Psylocke, which is scheduled to be released on next year, August as well. Okay, so at this point of time, you must be, having too much information to absorb. So I actually summarize it in a better way. I have arranged all the figures that I spoke about into the months of release, which should be easier for you to digest. So let's start with this month. We have, of course, like I say, keep your finger crossed, is the Miles Morales to be released on this month, October. And followed by next month, November, we have the Iron Spider from the Avengers Endgame. As well as in December, wow, we have all these figures, which is about 8 of them. Okay, so these are all the 8 figures that will be released on December this year. Keeping your finger crossed there. And then we have January, you have 3 figures to be released. Okay, as well as then February, we back to 1 figure, which is the Magneto from the X-Men. And then we have March, again, this will be 3 figures that you can see right now. And followed by April, we have the Hush as well as Spider-Gwen. And May, we have the Brown Wolverine as well as the animated Batman New Avenger. And followed by June, we have the Mark 85 as well as Batman and Robin from the Dark Knight Returns. And lastly, it will be August, we have the Joker and Psylocke. Okay, and very surprisingly, there is nothing on the month of July next year. Okay, so there you have it, guys. So okay, there are some doubts there for me, because as you can see, in December this year there will be the total of 8 figures to be released. Do you think that it's really possible for them to release 8 figures in 1 month? So I think there will be more delays from Mafex. So I do hope you find these videos informative and useful for you. For those of you who are still in doubts, hopefully this video will help you. Do give me a thumbs up if you like it, and of course always feel free to leave me any comments below if you have any further questions about the delays, about the release date of these Mafex figures. And before you leave, of course, I hope you will check out my playlist right over there, and also do browse around my channel for more interesting toy news videos such as this one, and I'll see you in those videos. Bye!